Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here with the acting administrator of the FAA, Chris Rushlow. I appreciate him being here with me. We want to talk, and Frank from the FAA here is as well. Listen, we've all been reporting and seeing what's happening at Newark Airport. And I think it is clear that the blame belongs with the last administration. Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden did nothing to fix the system that they knew was broken. And so I want to lay out how we got here, what's going on in Newark, and what our plan is to actually fix it under this Trump administration, who, by the way, fixes problems, doesn't cause problems. So how we got here. In July of 2024, the Biden-Buttigieg FAA moved control of the Newark airspace from New York, or also known as N90, to Philadelphia Tower or the Philadelphia TRACON. As part of the move, the STARS system that processes radar data for Newark remained based in New York, so they didn't move it from New York down to Philly, where the controllers would be. Redundant and diverse telecommunication line feeds this data from New York to Philadelphia TRACON, where controllers handle New York arrivals and departures. The Biden-Buttigieg FAA bungled this move without properly hardening the telecom lines feeding the data, which was already well known to be error-prone. Without addressing the underlying infrastructure, they added more risk to the system. In fact, there were issues in October and November under Biden and Buttigieg that would have highlighted to the prior administration that the underlying hardware would continue to cause problems. That, along with their overall neglect of our whole aviation system and the aging issues that we've highlighted over the course of the last several weeks, were clear mistakes of their administration. So let's talk about where we are now. What's going on in Newark? So a trio of recent equipment issues at Philadelphia on April 28th, May 9th, and May 11th affecting communication radar displays has highlighted the antiquated nature of the nation's air traffic control system, which is still using copper wires and other outdated technology. The incidents on April 28th and May 9th resulted in very brief outages that impacted the STARS radar data displays going down. The most serious of these outages lasted approximately 30 seconds. This includes the STARS radar data displays going down again for 30 seconds. The STARS displays took approximately 60 seconds then to reboot and come back online. So there's been some discrepancy, 30 seconds versus 90 seconds. The outage was 30 seconds, but then the displays took another minute to boot. That's where you get 30 and 90 seconds. But the telecom was out for 30 seconds. The outage also interrupted the phone line and radio frequencies for a very short period. This is how controllers talk to pilots. Radio frequency connections to phone lines via voice switches are the primary way those controllers do talk to pilots. These frequencies returned almost immediately, which is why you heard pilots actually telling airplanes that they couldn't see them with the radar. They were able to talk to the airplanes, but couldn't see the radars or the airplanes on their scopes. These issues, along with staffing shortages at Philadelphia and runway construction at Newark, have led to the delays for passengers. So in response, on Friday night, the FAA implemented a software update to prevent future outages. The software patch was successful, and our redundant lines are now both working. We know this because on Sunday there was an outage. You all reported on that. And the outage was the main line went down, but the redundant line did stand up, meaning our patch, our fix worked. Now, because of that, the controllers who had seen this the prior two times, when they saw the main line go down, they were concerned. Even though they could see airplanes and talk to airplanes, out of an abundance of caution, they actually shut down the airspace for 45 minutes. But we still had our scopes and our telecom functioning on Sunday morning. So it's important to note that, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, this system is so old that even if you have high-speed fiber information coming in to a TRACON or a tower, the equipment that we use is so old, the information has to be slowed down. It comes in too fast. it has to go at the speed of copper wires. So again, we have two issues: the reliability of the telecom, but also the old equipment that we're using paired together are causing a lot of issues in the system. So let's talk about what the Trump administration is doing moving forward to fix the problems that were left to us from the Biden-Buttigieg administration. Now, while these temporary software fixes that I mentioned earlier that worked on Sunday morning should prevent future outages, the core issue is the telecommunication lines. Here's what we're doing to fix the telecom. One, I'll be requesting an OIG investigation into the failures of the last administration and the decisions that were made to move the TRACON from N90 in New York down to Philadelphia, and the work that was done to plan for this move and making sure that the lines were hardened. The FAA today is assembling a tiger team of experts to fully fast-track the fixes that we've identified need to be done to make sure this works. The FAA has replaced copper lines with fiber lines at Newark, JFK, and LaGuardia. That work is done. It was done in the last couple weeks. However, it's going to take another week or two to be testing those two lines before we flip the switch and make them live. We're also, we're going to flip that, but it's 1 to 2 weeks. It's going to actually happen, we hope, at the end of May. We have spoken with the heads of Verizon and L3 Harris to understand why the telecom issues persist and how we can expedite those fixes. And again, we work with L3 Harris as our contractor, and Verizon is on the ground offering the support on the lines that run actually the telecom into the TRACON. They've assured me that this work is their top priority, especially Verizon. I spoke with their CEO yesterday. It's a top priority. They're going to move this work as fast as possible to get efficient and effective lines working for Newark. The goal is to add 3 new telecommunication connections between New York and Philadelphia. This will provide more high-speed, reliability, and redundancy, so if one goes down, we are assured that the others will stand up. The goal is to have this done as soon as possible. I'll give you an update as soon as we hear back from Verizon on how quickly they can progress with this work. Let me be clear. Even with these new lines, we still, as I mentioned, have to dumb down the data feed from these outdated systems inside of our towers, our centers, and our TRACONs. Again, I showed this last week. We're using equipment that looks like it's off the Apollo 13 set. And so today we have high-speed fiber, but when it comes into the TRACON, we do slow it down so it can be used by the old equipment. Our hope is to have high-speed fiber connections and then new technology in these towers, in TRACONs and centers, so we can maximize the use of American airspace. Number 5, the FAA is deploying a temporary backup system to the Philadelphia TRACON that will provide redundancy during the switch to a more reliable fiber optic network. This system will ensure that if both fiber connections fail, at the same time, air traffic controllers will still be able to communicate with aircraft and with other controllers. This fortifies communications, ensures it is uninterrupted if a dual fiber failure occurs. The FAA is going to establish a STARS hub at the Philadelphia TRACON so the facility doesn't have to pull that data from New York. So again, we're pulling it from New York. We want to bring that down to Philadelphia. By the way, the STARS system should have been brought down to Philadelphia before this TRACON was moved. Biden and Buttigieg did not bring it down. They just quickly moved the TRACON without having STARS in place and without testing how hard the equipment actually was in regard to telecommunications. Using existing statutory authority, I have as the Secretary of DOT. The DOT will convene a delay reduction meeting this Wednesday with all airlines who have flights at Newark. The goal is to have a manageable number of flights land at Newark. Families shouldn't have to wait 4 or 5 hours for a flight that never takes off. By lowering the number of flights, we can ensure the ones that are kept, they do actually take off and they do actually land. This authority hasn't been used in over 20 years. As I've stated publicly, if Congress approves our plan, the President's plan, to build a brand new air traffic control system, work at Newark is going to be a priority. We will do that first. And so, again, to recap, and I'm going to pass it off to the administrator. We're in a situation where telecom is going down. And it's taken some time to isolate the problem. And we believe we've done that, but I don't think we're out of the woods yet. We actually have to spend the time now to build the network that should have been built before the TRACON was moved. I know this is frustrating. I know it's hard for the airlines operating out of Newark, the families that fly out of Newark. It's problematic. But our commitment is always safety. We're going to make sure that if you fly, you're going to fly safely. And if we reduce the number of flights at Newark, we're not doing it to annoy people. We're not doing it to delay people's travel. What we're doing is guaranteeing safety. And when you have problems, you actually slow things down. And that's what we've done. We've slowed down the flights at Newark until we can stand this system up and be assured that we have enough controllers and a system that's actually working to keep everybody safe. And again, we didn't have to be here. This did not have to be our story. Over the last 4 years, the last administration, they knew this was a problem. And by the way, during COVID, when people weren't flying, that was a perfect time to fix these problems. But again, they got $1.2 trillion for infrastructure, and virtually none of it went to fix the biggest American infrastructure problem that we have, which is our air traffic control system. And so what you see in Newark, we're going to have to fix. We're going to move fast, but we're going to do it right. My concern is that we could see other situations like this around the country because the system is old. It's old. And we are fighting to make sure we work with Congress, get the money, and begin this build of a brand new system as quickly as possible. This couldn't happen without the leadership of President Trump, who, again, I'm going to say, he talked to me when he gave me the job. He knew how old this system was. And so when I presented him this plan, he said, listen, I want you to walk through it. Are we going to do the whole thing? This is not a patchwork. It's not a Band-Aid. This is going to be everything. We're going to build it brand new. And I said, yes, Mr. President, this is a plan to build everything new. It's going to be complicated, but we don't want more Newarks. We don't want more Newarks to happen throughout the country. And so we are going to fix Newark. We have a plan to fix Newark. We ask for your patience. And then we're looking to Congress to give us the resources to fix air traffic for the whole country so no one has to deal with this in the future.